as you can see from the title of this video and also with the box in front of me, I got weak, and after shooting with the L10, thanks to my anonymous commenter, I decided to get the L10 after I uploaded my last video. And here a big shout out to my friends at Fotoprofi Sling. They basically got their batch of LUMIX L10 units in, I think it was last Wednesday, and my local dealer thought, why not put the L10 aside, because he knew that I was test shooting with the other unit, and here it is. I also thought, why not unbox the L10 next to an X100VI. Here also again, thanks to my camera store in Sling, they allowed me to use this for this unboxing video. And now just dive into this quickly. As you can see, I got the black version. The box is quite simple, nothing special, and I assume that the unboxing experience will also be quite straightforward. You have here the strap, at least it feels relatively high quality. You have the rope style strap here, some paperwork. Okay, this is the battery, I assume, and the camera itself. Alright, that's already it. Nothing else in the box. Let's get it out here. Let me put the box aside. And there it is, in simply plain black. I decided for the black version just to have a more stealthy camera compared to the silver one if I use the L10 for streets. But also regarding the anniversary edition, that was not available here in Germany at the time of this recording. And yeah, I just wanted to have it as soon as possible. Also because I want to make content out of it. And as I mentioned in the past video, this LUMIX L10 fits into a slot in my camera's kit. Alright, this is, you see, the lens cap. And yeah, the LUMIX L10 in black. What you also notice with the normal version is there's no possibility to install a soft release button compared to the anniversary edition, but that's also fine for me. In front you have the LUMIX logo. On the back, nothing there. Let's put in the battery in. And that's the LUMIX L10 next to the X100 Mark VI. But before diving into the kind of a comparison regarding the hardware of these two cameras, let me do one more thing, because I stole this from my kits, and let's see how this will look like. I think this one looks quite funny. Yeah, the small panda on the logo. The L and the X is still there, but I find the position quite funny. Alright, let's switch to the main camera angle and look into quick comparison regarding size and build quality with the Fujifilm X100VI. Hi, and thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Phil, aka Phil, and as I said, let's just quickly have a look regarding the X100VI next to the L10. And now, since I have these two cameras side by side, I have to admit that, yeah, in my opinion, the X100 camera from Fujifilm and also the X-E5, which I had previously owned, they do definitely feel more premium, if you want to call that so. First of all, the top plate and the butt plate of the X100 just feels better subjectively, in my opinion. Although I'd have to say that this doesn't feel cheap, but in direct comparison, yeah, I would prefer the X100. And as I said, the X-E5 is in a similar ballpark. If I compare the dials, the shutter speed dial just feels, yeah, good. Also, you are able to lift the dial to adjust your ISO settings. The mode dial on the L10, on the other hand, feels really sturdy, feels quite good. So no complaints in that regard. And here you have the exposure compensation from Fujifilm, which does also feel okay, good. But I have to say that in my experience, every time I use a Fujifilm camera, doesn't matter if it's an X100 camera, X-T30, the X-T5 I have borrowed. I also had my hands on the GRIV X100RF. Every time when I had a Fujifilm camera in my bag and I pulled it out of the bag, this exposure compensation dial was set up incorrectly because it has been moved by the movement in the camera bag or by pulling out the camera bag. And this consistent annoyance I never had with other cameras, only with Fujifilm. And on this L10 you see that you have basically also one dial and one button. Both of them are customizable. I have to say that this button doesn't feel premium in my opinion. It does the job, I guess. The mode dial feels much better in direct comparison. Time will tell if this will be also easily get knocked out compared to the exposure compensation dial of the Fujifilm X100VI. If you look on the back, you see that the X100 camera or the X100VI has the joystick and the L10 does not have it. You only have the D-pad wheel, you could say. I would have preferred a joystick, to be honest, but I'm also able to use the L10 as it is. Regarding buttons on the back, both of them feel good. As I mentioned in my first impression videos, the L10 buttons feel much better compared to the LUMIX S9. Moving on the back of the camera, you have here on the L10 the flip out screen, which a lot of you photographers don't like. I do prefer it for portrait shots. And here on the X100, also on the X-E5, you have the tilt up screen, which is, according to my comment section, the preference of you all. What I also mentioned in the first impression videos is the viewfinders. And yeah, having these cameras already next to each other, I have to emphasize again how much I enjoy this EVF of the L10, simply because of the magnification, but also that it does have some kind of eye cup. The X-E5 didn't have that, and that's the reason why I didn't enjoy it. The combination of a bigger magnification, yeah, it does just looks better next to each other compared to the X100 camera, but this EVF is still a good one. I prefer the EVF of the X100VI over the EVF of the X-E5, definitely. Overall, and if you have both of these cameras next to each other, I would say that regarding build quality, that the X100 cameras, but also the X-E5, I would rank them above the L10. Although the L10 doesn't feel cheap, it feels very good regarding build quality. But if you have them next to each other, the build quality of the X100 is better in my opinion. Below that, the LUMIX S9 is much cheaper in the experience because the camera body is fully of plastic, and but therefore you get the full frame sensor for a lower price. So yeah, you have to know what you prioritize. What I forgot to mention is, of course, the aperturing of both of these cameras. They also feature an aperturing, and I have to say that the aperturing on the L10, it feels fine, nothing special. Again, when I compare it next to the X100 one, before I thought that the X100 one doesn't feel that special, but in direct comparison, yeah, the X100 is perhaps a little bit better. Of course, if you want to step up the game regarding build quality, also regarding aperturing, you have the Leica Q lineup. I have here the Leica Q1, and as soon as you pick up one of these Q cameras, you definitely feel and see the step up on the build quality. But here we are talking about when you use the Q3 as a comparison reference, there's a big gap regarding price, and therefore the quality differences are justified. So I thought, why not share you an additional comparison, you could say. I thought, why not also print my first LUMIX L10 image and also compare it to a full frame shot, because funny enough, on that day when I shot the LUMIX L10, I got a frame which is quite similar to the shot I got a few days ago with the ZF on a 75mm f2 lens, and I will blend you in the images right now. Clearly you can see the difference in bokeh, of course, since I shot the ZF wide open at f2, and the L10, which was also on 75mm wide open on 2.8, but that 2.8 on the Micro Four Thirds sensor equals about f5.6 in full frame equivalent terms regarding the depth of field. Sure, you can see it quite obviously in this comparison shot. Of course, when I print it out, we will also see that, of course, but yeah, I thought, why not also look at the physical print? And I won't print that big. The paper I have right now is it's a Canon photo paper, and yeah, it's A3. I will blend you in the inch measurements up here, because that's yeah, basically the size I normally use for decorating family photos in our home. But I also know that you can even print bigger with Micro Four Thirds. But now let's see my ZF shot compared to the L10 shot. Alright, the results are in, and I already had a quick look at the prints, and I have to say that both of them are looking amazing in my opinion. I'm not sure if this comes through the camera. Of course, as I mentioned before, it's clear which image is shot on full frame and which shot was shot on Micro Four Thirds, but in my opinion both of them look just great. And sure, if you prefer the more shallower depth of field look here with the Nikon ZF shot at f2 on 75mm, it does show that. FYI, both shots are straight out of camera JPEGs. On the Nikon ZF I had the grain on with the standard black and white profile, and on the LUMIX L10 I had the Leica monochrome JPEG profile on it. Looking at both of them, I do like the more grainier look on the ZF, but that's also something you can customize in the L10. But as prints, both of them look also great. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed my short video about the L10 unboxing and with the small comparisons I did during this video. And yes, I couldn't resist regarding the L10. It simply fits into between my Nikon ZF and my Ricoh GR4, simply because of the form factor with that 24-75 full frame equivalent zoom lens. And I will definitely make a follow-up video about my 3-camera kit, so stay tuned on that. If you're still here, thank you very much for your time watching. You are the one who deserves the like for that. If you want to see more videos on my channel, click on one of these, which YouTube suggests to you. And until then, have a nice day.